This is going to be a video on the details and the map of the Holy Bible, and I started this series a couple months ago. This is the next video. I've got a video about the book of Genesis coming up. With the Lord's help, I'm going to be walking through the whole Bible and every location that it gives and pinning it to this map and showing you where the people were going. That study has been very fun. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and all their movements. So I wanted to look at some of the details. If you look at the right side of the map here, it says this list of 50 different locations there on the bottom right, and they're divided by which tribe they're in, and then whether they're without Jordan, in Jewry, Samaria, or Galilee, and that's all Canaan. And then on the top left, we're going to look at Jerusalem there, where it's zoomed into Jerusalem in the top left corner, and we'll take an up-close look here. So before we get into that, I wanted to show you what I just learned. I've got 4 witnesses here showing that a day's journey is about 6.5 miles. I'm not saying 6.5 is the dogmatic exact amount you should absolutely stick to or teach, but you can look at those verses there. Numbers 33:8, it's a 3-day journey. If you look on the map at how long the journey was, it was 6.5 times 3. Deuteronomy 1:2, it says, from Sinai, as thou goest by Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea, it is an 11-day journey. Run that route on the map. It's 6.5 miles per day. Joshua 9:16 and 17, it says it's a 2 to 3 day journey because they showed up to the first of the cities on the second day, or on the third day, I think. 6.5 miles per day, it works out to. And then the story with Jacob and Laban, Jacob fleeing, works out perfectly for them to be 6.5 miles per day. So I believe when it says a day's journey in the Bible, it's about 6.5 miles. It works out on the map that way. All right. So there on the bottom right, I told you there are these 50 locations, and it's really small print. I want you to be able to actually see them. And I charted out here. You can see all these little red arrows. They start on the very top there, number 1, and each arrow points to the next location of the 50. So for each of the 50 locations on the bottom right, there's a representative picture, and it's numbered there on the map. And you have to zoom in to be able to see it, so I wanted to give you the ability to see them. Here's an example, number 1, the place where the woman of Canaan entreated Christ for her possessed daughter, and that's Mark 7. Right there, she is begging with Christ, who's got the little halo around his head, and it's got the number 1 next to it. Number 2, the widow of Zarephath or Sarepta, cherished by Elias, 1 Kings 17. 3, in this place the woman pronounced blessedness to the womb that bare Christ and to the paps that gave him suck, Luke 11. 4, here 100,000 Aramites were slain and vanquished in battle, and 20,000 more by the fall of a wall, 1 Kings 20. 5, here Joshua overcame Jabin and many other kings of Canaan, Joshua 11. So at any time through here, I know you might be thinking, man, this is going to be boring. At any time while you're going through here, if you notice, hey, I've studied that before, I've wondered where that was, using this, I've got a zoomed in picture here. You can find where it is on the map. Just look at the general area. Like there, you've got the waters of Meron on the right and that big banner of Naphtali there. So you can find that on the map and look closely to see where these things happened. 6, the place where Sisera with his 900 chariots was vanquished and lastly slain by Jael, wife to Heber, Judges 4. The cities wherein Christ dwelt and did his miracles, Matthew 9. 8, the mount whereon Christ was transfigured and where Moses and Elias talked with him, Matthew 17. 9, in this place Elias built his altar and sacrificed to the Lord, slaying the priests of Baal, 1 Kings 18. 10, the city where Christ raised the widow's son from death, whereupon John sent his disciples to ask him of the Messiah, Luke 7. 11, here Elias raised the Shunammite's son, 2 Kings 4. 12, many great battles in this valley, it's Jezreel there on the bottom, were fought, as that of Gideon against the Midianites, Judges 6, of Jehu against Jehoram, king of Israel, 2 Kings 9, of Saul against the Philistines, 1 Samuel 31. There was Naboth stoned to death, 1 Kings 21, and Jezebel there by dogs was devoured, 2 Kings 9. And if you've read your Bible, you know that there are many battles to come in the valley of Jezreel. 13, upon the walls of this city the Philistines hanged the dead body of Saul, 1 Samuel 31. 14, here, Saul consulting with a witch is seduced by the devil that can transform himself like to an angel of light. 1 Samuel 28. 15, here, Abimelech slew his brethren. Judges 9. 16, in this place, Barak of Israel overthrew the forces of the Canaanites. Judges 5. 17, on this mount, Saul slew himself. 1 Samuel 31. 18, Jacob's well, where Christ conferred with the woman of Samaria, showing the true worshipers. John 4. 19, at this place, 2 huge Philistines in single fight were slain, the one named Saph by Sibachar, and the other named Goliath, the staff of whose spear was like a weaver's beam, by Elhanah. 2 Samuel 21. 20, the pit wherein Joseph was cast by his brethren. Genesis 37. 21, the calf erected by Jeroboam, with which idolatry all the kings of Israel were stained. 1 Kings 12. 22, in this place Joshua overcame 5 kings of the Amorites and commanded the sun to stay his course. Joshua 10. 23, the waters wherein John did baptize. John 3. 24, here Achan was stoned to death for the wedge of gold. Joshua 7. 25, the battle of Israel against the Benjamites. Judges 20. 26, the 2 disciples going towards Emmaus meet with Christ. Luke 24. 27, the withered and accursed fig tree. Matthew 23. 28, in this place Samson slew a lion in whose dead carcass bees wrought honey, which was the riddle and first occasion had by him against the Philistines, many of whom he slew in his life, and more at his death. Judges 14. 29, here Absalom slew his brother Ammon. 2 Samuel 13. 30, the place where David slew Goliath the Philistine. 31, the ark of God brought from Ekron. 1 Samuel 6. 32, in this place Samson slew 30 Philistines. Judges 14. 33, the monstrous giant slain by Jonathan. 2 Samuel 21. 34, in this city, Bethlehem little, Micah 5:2, but not little, Matthew 20, Christ, the glory of Israel and light of the Gentiles, was born. Interesting note, there is a Bethlehem very close to Nazareth up north. That's why this one is Bethlehem Ephrata, Bethlehem little, and the one up north is a different Bethlehem. 35, hence Samson carried the gates, and hither was carried himself. 36, this city David rescued from the Philistines. 1 Samuel 23. 37, David, fleeing from Saul, wandereth this wilderness. 1 Samuel 23. 38, here Judah subdueth the Hebronites. Judges 1. 39, here Asa overcame Zerah, king of Ethiopia. 2 Chronicles 14. 40, David, escaping Saul, calleth this place Rock of Division. 1 Samuel 23. 41, in this mount Moab and Ammon encamped and slew each other. 2 Chronicles 20. 42, the wise men of the east following the star of Christ. Matthew 2. 43, the place where Agar laid Ishmael expelled. Genesis 21. 44, in this place Samson with the jawbone of an ass slew 1,000 Philistines, and out of the same received water to quench his thirst. Judges 15. 45, the place where Balaam was brought by Barak, king of Moab, to curse the Israelites. Numbers 23. 46, where Jacob wrestled with the angel. Genesis 32. 47, where the herd of swine perished. Matthew 8. 48, in this place Jacob and Laban entered covenant. Genesis 32. 49, here Israel overcame Og, king of Bashan. Deuteronomy 3. 50, Absalom hanged by his hair. 2 Samuel 18. Those are the 50, and I know that was a lot, but if you want to learn more about this map, that is a fantastic way to do it. You can see where a lot of these events from the Bible took place. That's been an encouragement to me. Next, I wanted to look at the Exodus, and I'm not going to read all of these just for time, but you can read through them yourself if you want. If you're studying the Exodus, I just wanted to walk you through the route here. Obviously, it starts here in Ramesses, one of the treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses, that they built, and then moves on to Succoth, Etham, Pihahiroth, where they crossed the Red Sea and came to Mara, Elam, Samsuf, Zin, Dafka, Alush, Rephidim, and you have Meribah Sinai. Just so happens to be number 12, and that's where they see the Lord. That's where Moses goes up upon Mount Sinai and receives the Ten Commandments. And they move on to Taberath, Mazeroth. Like I said, I'm not going to read all of these, but I wanted to walk you through them. These are laid out all throughout Exodus, Numbers, some in Deuteronomy. Hashmona, Maseroth, Bin Joachim, Jokin, Hor-Hagiadad, all these places that you just kind of glance over when you're studying. Next, they come straight from there in Ezion Geber all the way up to Kadesh, and then just north of Kadesh is Kadesh Barnea, which is where you see on the right side there's two men with a giant cluster of grapes on that staff there, and that's where the 12 men went to spy out Canaan. 10 were bad, 2 were good, Joshua and Caleb, and they rebelled against the Lord, and so God sent them south into the wilderness for 40 years. We travel a long way. Here is Kadesh Barnea, where they reject God's promise, and they reject the promised land, and God apparently was going to send them in through the south. He had offered them, you see there the Lake of Sodom, that's the Dead Sea on the right side of the water. He was going to send them on the south side of Jerusalem there. And they rejected the promised land, so he sends them south and east into Edom, into the wilderness, and a lot of distance is covered, obviously, there in that 40-year time where that whole generation that rejected him perished in the wilderness. 36, you've got Funon, Oboth, the hillocks of Yabarim, or the mountains of Abraham, Dibon-Gad, Yalmon or Diblathaim. You've got the mountains of Abiram here, and then the plains of Moab, where they pitched there, and finally they cross the Red Sea. They go towards Jericho, and that's the Exodus route, according to the King James Bible. And it's just interesting to me that he gives that double-dotted line and all the locations where they stopped. And that number 42 is significant throughout your Bible. The last thing I wanted to look at here, well, the next to last, is Jerusalem, this city. And you can see on the right it has A through Z, and it's 24 letters because they do not have a J separated, and they do not have a U separated, or a V. So they only have 24 letters instead of 26. And they start their numbering at 3, 4, and they skip 5, I guess because it looks like an S, and do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So those locations there, I'm going to draw them out here. You can see the pieces of furniture on the bottom and on the right side there of the temple. But we'll look at these details here. First, up there, we've got the Sephina Tower, the Women's Tower, Herod's Palace, the Hippotos Tower, Gate Ephraim, Gate Benjamin, the Assyrians' Castle, the Water Gate, the Dunghill Gate, Shepherd's Gate, right there. Let you guess who's gonna, well, there's the Shepherd's Pool, L. You've got the Monobaz Palace, Ezekiah's Pool, Anthony's Palace, the Paved Street, Agrippa's Palace, Essen's Gate, the Old Gate, remember that one, S. Up there on the northwest is the Old Gate. Solomon's Palace, you've got the Shiloh Gate, the Fountains of Shiloh down there, W. Y, you've got a bathing pool. X, you've got Solomon's Garden. Read the Song of Solomon to see some details about that. Z, you've got the fish pool. 3, the Golden Gate. 4, the Fish Gate. 6, you say, where's 5? They don't have one. 6, Upper Mount. 7, the Lower Mount. 8, Hananeel Tower. Can't find it. I cannot, if anybody out there can find the number 8 on this map of Jerusalem, please let me know because I cannot find it anywhere. 9, Josaphat's Sepulchre. 10, Isaiah's Sepulchre. Can't find that one either. Seems to me like 8 and 10 are missing. 11, David's Sepulchre. 12, David's Tower. 13, the Ark in Sion. And there you have the Mount of Olives on the bottom right side. The Valley of Hinnom. The Brook Kidron. You've got the Gihon Valley and the Gihon Lake. the Skyhun River that Hezekiah rerouted. Right there, guess who's hanging on the tree? Judas Iscariot, and juxtaposed, situated far above him, we have Mount Calvary. How many Jesuses do you see on those crosses, by the way? How many Jesuses do you see in that little tomb, by the way? Mount Calvary. You've got the garden and the sepulcher of Christ there, seated beneath the mountain. And then right there, it's got some words on that path. It says, Jesus, that he might sanctify the people with his own blood, suffered without the gate. Now, if you look at the cross and follow that little trail, dotted line trail back to the city, you'd have to go through the old gate in order to get into the city. So when Hebrews 13:12 says, without the gate, it's talking about the old gate where Jesus Christ suffered. Those pieces of furniture, there's your laver, where they washed themselves. The brazen sea, held up by bowls. The Ark of the Testimony with the cherubims and their wings spread over it. The altar of burnt offering. Right there in the bottom right corner, it says, without shedding of blood is no remission, Hebrews 9:22. The table of showbread, 6 on each with a dollop on the top. Altar of incense with its staves, and you've got the candlestick with its 7 candles. That is the city of Jerusalem. And this map, so we've seen the 50 locations on the bottom right, we've seen the Exodus route, we've seen the city of Jerusalem. Now I just want to show you, I believe, 2 more quick details. One, here it's got a ship with a great whale that's bigger than the ship opening its mouth. And that is the story of Jonah and the whale there. And on that plaque it says, as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. Matthew 12, verse 40. Down here in the bottom in the wilderness, while the Jews were wandering, it's got on the right side there Moses pointing to look and behold that serpent that was on the staff. That's where we get the song, Look and Live. It says, as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up.